There's two different elements to why the US, really all countries, want to control Canada. But as far as Trump is concerned, the reason Trump wants Canada, and for that matter Greenland, is because Russia wants them. More specifically, Putin wants them, and Trump does what Putin asks, because Trump is a frickin' Russian asset, and we need to stop pretending he's not. He loses all his money, he goes to Russia, and all of a sudden when he comes home to Russia, suddenly Russian oligarchs start renting from him, buying from him. Deutsche Bank starts giving him loans that no rational bank on earth would possibly hand out. Deutsche Bank, allegedly home to the place that you cleanse your funds if the source of your funds is somehow not as legitimate as you'd like it to be. Strategically, Canada and Greenland are helpful for military purposes, but mostly what they really want are the rare minerals, the lumber, the steel, the aluminum, the oil, and going forward, the water. Now, Greenland has most of its rare minerals under the ice. So by the time we can get to a majority of Greenland's rare minerals, New York City will be underwater. So, like, we don't want that. As a matter of fact, we want to figure out how to keep Greenland from melting. The oil industry has wanted Canada for decades. They have a plan for it, kind of like Project 2025. The Canada plan pre-exists Project 2025. Big oil executives just want to go in. They want to pull out all the oil, all the fracking, leave it for, strip mining and just decimation of all available lumber, because it's there. And what does big oil do but destroy? Now, Canada, on the other hand, moves slowly and really kind of has watched the US over the years, and like every time the US has made a mistake, like, oh, that coal fire that's been burning underground for, 50 years. Canada's like, yeah, we're not interested in having that on our side. Canada policy moves very slow, and while it is frustrating to its citizens, it is for the better of the citizens. We allow for our timber to be cut. But as you cut, you have to plant. So after 10 years of taking down all the timber, by the time you get to the end, you should theoretically be able to start at the beginning with 10-year-old trees and do it again. Whereas like Trump's current plan to strip national forest of trees, he doesn't have a plan to replant those trees. That's how we get mudslides and soil erosion, and that's how we end up really, really screwed. So while even most Canadians are frustrated with the Canadian government, it comes from a point that the Canadian government is like, hey, if you look at climate change, one of the last pieces of livable land is us and Alaska. As everything else heats up and becomes unlivable, people are either going to die in place or move up to Canada. We have to protect what we have as long as we can, because eventually almost everybody is going to end up at this point on the earth or higher. Now, that's something people don't want to think about because it's 2050 and like, oh, that's a problem for our kids. But no, Canada and most of Europe considers this on a regular basis. Big oil doesn't give a crap. Big oil just wants to get in, get their oil, and get out. And once they've screwed up the earth by fracking and spilling and doing whatever else, they'll do what they always did and be like, that's a you problem. Good luck cleaning it up. It's not that Canada has more resources than the US, it's just that they don't hand them out the same way. And look, Big Oil kind of thinks Canada is just a bunch of dumb Canucks, like, oh, we'll give them a penny and they'll do what we want. Not really. But it's there, and Big Oil wants it, and so they're trying really hard to get it, and they're using the power of the president to try to get through this time. Because when they just run ads in Canada trying to, rile up Maple MAGAs, it doesn't go quite as far. Well, if you would just let us drill wherever we wanted, you'd be billionaires. No, if you let them drill everywhere they wanted, they would be billionaires. You would be broke. It's the way it happens every single time. But most of this is because Russia and Big Oil want it. I mean, now that Greenland and Canada have both, resoundingly said no to Trump, it does hurt his ego a little bit, but, as soon as somebody else gives him a shiny object to get mad at, he'll get over this. But Putin really, really, really wants Greenland and Canada. He'll take Greenland first, but he really, really, really wants Canada.